I want to hear about recruiting. All right, once I'm agree on it, I'm gone. Academics. Anybody knows what the academic standards to be a Division I baseball players are? How many core courses? 4 core courses? I wish everybody would be playing. 16 core courses. That's math, English, science, languages, all that good stuff. No home ec. I'm sure that 50% of them are home ec, right? PE, weightlifting, all that stuff, none of that stuff really counts. Okay? So there's only core courses, right? You have to have a minimum GPA, core GPA, those courses of what? 3 point what? No, 2 point. 2.35 maybe? It'll be good for you guys to look that up. 2.3, right? 2.3. And then the SAT, ACT, there's a scale. So there's no minimum with that, there's just a scale. The lower the GPA, the higher the test scores have to be, vice versa. So there's a scale that they can go and look at. All right? Now, here's the question. How many of your counselors are actually helping you through this process, telling you, hey, this is what he needs to do, this is what he needs to take, he's going to be just fine? How many of your counselors? Florida here?
Yes, sir.
Are you a counselor there?
No, coach.
You're coaching? Sure. Did I say anything bad about coaching?
Not at all.
Mine doesn't.
You're a counselor?
Yeah.
Right on it?
NCAA eligible and everything, yes.
He's good to go? Good. She needs to help everybody else.
Yeah. Talk about clearing us.
Now, have you seen?
She's awesome.
Have you seen the list of approved courses from them?
I personally have not.
Okay. So you don't know. So here's the thing. So you guys have information, and hear me out. This is probably the most important piece of information that you need to know about today. Okay, my camera. Do I have? Are you on my good side? Because if not, you. I wasn't sure. If you think that your counselor knows what she or he is doing, ask for the list of approved courses for NCAA. Ask for that. You can be your son's counselor yourself. You don't need anybody else. It's as simple as getting that form. You can look it up. Go to the NCAA portal, NCAA Eligibility Center portal, look for your high school, print out the list of approved courses. Print it out. Once you have that printed out, look at the transcript. Match them up. 16 of them have to appear in the transcript. Get your core GPA, do the math, you will know if you qualify or not. Very simple. Very, very simple. So, whoever tells you, oh, he's going to be fine, your son is going to be fine, said, okay, can I get that list? What are you talking about, list of courses? Well, I guess you don't know. Because if they can't pull it up, you can actually pull it up yourself. You can pull that up, you can match it up, transcripts, list of approved courses for your school. Do they match up? Do I have 16? Yes. My core GPA is this. My SAT scores are this. He's going to be fine. He'll be good to go. As easy as that. So they don't get to decide that unless they're actually matching it up themselves. Okay, does that make sense? So your son can be a 4.0 student and miss one core course? No good. Okay, so understand that part of it. It is extremely, extremely important that you guys know and you guys are on top of it. Go to the NCAA Eligibility Center portal. Just high school portal. It says NCAA high school portal. And you just drop down the city or whatnot, and you can look at every single school. You can look whatever school you want and see the list of approved courses. So the way that it works, Florida Air, for example, just because I see the shirt and you coach in the foot. Florida Air, the principal, the assistant principal, whoever the designated person is, will fill out a sheet or multiple sheets. Say, these are the courses. and they'll send it out to the NCAA with the course catalogs, the description of the courses. Okay, and then they'll evaluate them. Say, yeah, they're good. We're gonna put them on the list because they are actually courses that they would need. And that's how they go. Is it important to get an NCAA ID number? Yes. If you're planning on playing Division I baseball, you need to register through the NCAA Eligibility Center. That's the first thing that you need to do. It's $70, $75, something like that. So you need to register. NCAA Eligibility Center, register, everyone. Right after you register, it's not too early to start sending the transcripts. Start sending them out. And the test scores. The earlier the better. And after every single semester, update, send them again. Every semester, all they do is update it. So by the time he is second, hopefully by the first semester of his senior year, he's probably good to go. Do it as early as you can. NCAA. Yep, register. Any other questions? Yes. How many pitchers do I carry on my roster? In the fall roster, probably right around 20 in the fall. And it all depends how they do throughout the fall. Question over there. Nope. There's no percentage out of state or in state. We're going to try to stay in state. Thank you. He gets a raise. Give him a hand. All right, in state, out of state. It does and it doesn't matter. I mean, we're going to try to stay in state as much as we can, but we are also going out of state for certain players. If we like a player, we see a player that we like out of state, we'll go after that player, but we're going to stay here local. There's a lot of talent here, and we understand that, you know, in Florida. But if we got to get out of Florida, we'll get out of Florida too. We're not against going outside. We're not against staying in here. We, of course, want the best baseball players that will fit in here. We do have a good mixture in our team right now. You know, and it actually works very well. So we're gonna make sure that we recruit from here, but we can't. We would not recruit anybody because they're from out of state. No, it's just not gonna happen. It's a good question. Who's your son? Who's your son? Out of state?
Yes, sir. San Antonio, Texas.
Oh, that's right around the corner. I was just in Houston yesterday.
That's a little bit past Hialeah.
Yeah. I came from Houston. I was there a week. Yes.
So far as scholarships go and position players and pitchers, I mean, is there any mix that you allocate these scholarships, or do you just look at the kind of needs and build out?
So in general, when we do the scholarship, the way that I have it split up, by position. And I have an Excel sheet that will calculate the total number per position. Okay? Pitchers in general will have a higher percentage than any other position. Pitchers will have a higher percentage. So pitchers will get the most, and then followed by everybody else. In general. So if we have 11.7, pitcher will be in the 6.5 range, you know, total also.
Your left-handed pitcher,
Do they throw 90 plus? They do, yes.
they're on their way.
Okay. 90 plus, yes, they do, yes, ma'am.
If you see a player, you know, obviously my son plays a certain position, he has a secondary position.
Future, 200, it's a future.
If you see him and you like him and you think that you could benefit from him in a different position, would you approach him? Would you approach a player on that?
Yeah, I think we often do that. If they have a good arm, let's just say they're a position player, they have a good arm, and we believe that they could be a pitcher, we'll let them know, have you ever pitched, and are you against it, and we'll go from there. Yes, we've done that. Many of the situations I've been position players to pitchers, not vice versa. So if they're a pitcher, we're not gonna say, hey, do you play shortstop? We're not gonna do that unless something really drastic happens and they're running 6'1", 160 or something like that. Good question though. Anybody else? We don't know. I'll let you know in the spring. It all depends. It really does. It really does on how many position players we carry. Every year is different. Gauge probably 14 to 16, more or less in a year. Just giving you an average. Some years maybe 18, some years maybe 16, and more position players. It really all depends. Anybody else? We're less than 3 hours, so we're doing really, really good here.
Only
Yes, you may. Give me a second.
it came up at another camp, so I was just curious. When you
What camp? What camp?
Georgetown,
Oh, okay.
yeah,
The Warriors, yeah, they're good in basketball.
yeah. So my son
sorry.
he's got a brain, so you
I'm
know
sorry.
I have to push it to some extent.
That's you know, I'm saying a good thing. Yeah, basketball.
My question is when you set your roster for the spring, is that your roster for the entire spring, or when the kids that are not on the roster practice and you feel that you can move them up?
Once we establish the roster is the roster. If we have 2, 3, or 4 that don't make it academically, get injured, it is what it is. We can't add anybody else. Yeah, once the roster is set, it's set.
So when you lose, if you lose a player to an injury, you can't substitute that.
Anybody else back there? We're good? Yes.
If I can ask an unrelated question to the topic, and forgive me if it sounds silly, but as a parent, when will we know what team our kid is on so we can look at the schedule and try to figure out
I actually could have told you now, but I left my clipboard down there. Yeah, that's my fault. You really want to know right now? You want me to get the clipboard?
Eventually, I'd like to.
No, not the schedule. I have a clipboard with all the. I'll send somebody up here to tell you what. How about that? No, I gotta delegate. Right? I have no idea because I'm been on the
He's good with that.
You know that? You're trying to catch me in a lie, aren't you? How did you think I would know? No. Exactly. Neither do I. Yes.
How many people you got on your email? How many players are
That's a good question. Well, I have a group of people that send emails, so I don't send them myself. So I don't.
That's why you don't respond when they write you.
Well, if you send it to me, I may respond, I may not. You'd be surprised how many emails I got. But we do what we do. Just to answer your question, and I can't tell you the number. We go to those websites and we invite players, especially most of the local players we invite. Just to see them and get them into this environment.
Brought your list from Alabama?
Did I bring my list from Alabama? Nope. They stay there with my former assistant. They got it all. So no, we different market, and we do it, differently here once we got down here. Starting fresh, starting new. 5 years ago, I had to do the same thing. So, yes. Do we help players? Basically, do we help players go somewhere else if we're full? Yes. Yes, absolutely. We have a lot of friends that they may need a shortstop, they may need an outfielder. We like him, but we don't have room. We said, hey, this kid I really like, you should really consider talking to him. Yes, absolutely. No doubt. Now the next one, just to answer that, the next one that we're running in November is what we call an exposure camp. So we're going to invite some of the coaches to be here. So the next camp in November is going to be more exposure for everybody else to come and see them. This one is selfishly for ourselves. This one is for us to see. We just got here. We want to have a leg up on everybody else. So we want to make sure that we see the players first that are interested in us. So selfishly, this is for us. The next one, we're going to invite some other coaches to be here, the one in November. So if you get another invite, it's a little bit different. Maybe the same, similar format, we'll tweak a couple of things, but it's more to expose the players than anything else. Okay. Huh? What school? Alabama State?
What's his son's name?